Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right. Merry Christmas to you and welcome to our Wednesday edition of the JP Peterson Show, a special edition today because we're going to talk about your Tampa Bay Rays and maybe a little USF, a couple other things mixed in, a little bowl preview for my Florida State Seminoles. But we hope you guys are having a great Christmas season. Thank you so much for jumping in here. And we got a very special guest today. And if you missed our interview with newly minted Hall of Famer Fred McGriff, Tampa native, former Devil Ray, well, it was absolutely fascinating. And I'll say Merry Christmas to you, Nick Geddes, for our special Rays edition. I know how excited you are about the 2023 lineup and all the additions that have been made. Oh, wait a minute. Only subtractions to this team, but maybe some addition by subtraction. Who knows?
Say, what do you mean? I'm thrilled about this new crop of prospects that we're counting on.
Oh, yes.
I'm thrilled.
Yes.
I'm thrilled as I see all the money being spent in free agency right now.
It is spectacular how other teams are spending money around the league.
I didn't say smart money.
No.
But money is still being spent.
It's just if you want to be in the game, you got to spend money. And it just goes to show you how much money these teams are making, including the Rays, by the way, with the huge television deals that are being handed out. And you know, it's a very unlevel playing field, no question about it, but that's mostly by the Rays doing themselves. They have artificially restricted their spending because clearly we know that Stu has the money, over $500 million in his new Rays account from the advance of the television deal, but they just choose not to spend it on players. And that's the way we're not going to be in the running for some of these ridiculous shortstop contracts and other contracts, which I'm okay with for the most part. I mean, but you got to spend something.
Yeah.
You got to spend something.
To the shortstop thing did you see the contract like a Dansby Swanson got?
Yeah.
Like he's
the going rate, bro.
He's a good player, but like, damn, he ain't transcendent.
No.
$25 million a year.
That's unbelievable.
If you want to give the Rays credit, I will. I mean, we'll see if he's here for the duration of the contract, but the Wander Franco contract is an absolute steal compared to some of these shortstops that I've been seeing.
Yeah, he's got to be kicking himself.
And they've got him locked up through his entire good years. All these guys are going to be locked up in 3 years. These contracts are going to suck.
Yeah. So maybe the Rays will pay out some of that money. Who knows? I still think they'll trade him. But if the new ownership group comes in, they've got a bargain on their hands. Well, this just in though. Let's see him do something. Because Wander Franco hadn't done a whole lot. He hadn't, and that was
last year to me is a lost year. Too many injuries. Many injuries.
And as long as he plays at the Trop.
He's 21 years old.
Which we'll be getting into. Yeah, I know. But, he's already getting leg injuries because he's playing on this turf. That's no good. It's no good. So, and it's hard to hit in the Trop, and it's all the more reason we need a new stadium, and hopefully it's sooner than later. And that's another thing. We could wait till 2027. There's still a couple of years left that we, to get this thing on the drawing board. And we'll get into that in our next segment. But it's, I'd rather get done tomorrow. Get done tomorrow so we can move into maybe 2026 and play the 26 and 27 season in the new stadium instead of waiting and playing 2 more years at Tropicana Field. You feel me?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So the sooner the better. Now, chances of that happening, nil, but you never know. But anyway, Fred McGriff got into the Hall of Fame after 12 years of the regular committee, the Baseball Writers Association, thumbing their nose at the only guy that was consistently one of the greatest home run hitters without steroids, while keeping the other guys out, but not acknowledging the guys that did it cleanly, and none better than Fred McGriff. 493 career home runs, 30 home run seasons with 5 different teams, never been done. Actually only Gary Sheffield is the only other, Tampa native, by the way, to do it. Just an incredible career. And he finally got in with the Veterans Committee is basically what they call it. Without even, I think the highest total he ever got was maybe 39%.
Not a lot.
Yeah. And then it was, almost a landslide for the Veterans Committee because I think they recognized that Fred did it the right way. And if you're going to keep the guys out that did it the wrong way, why not put the guys in who did it the right way? And that's Fred McGriff. So we got a chance to catch up with Fred before he teed off, which he does almost every single day. I love the guy. And we had a really fun conversation. Here it is. The great crime dog, Fred McGriff, is joining us this morning live, newly minted Hall of Famer. It's about freaking time, my friend. What's up, Fred? How are you?
Morning. Pretty good. But, JP, we got to start off the show with a little, like, hallelujah, praise the Lord. Because, JP, under the dictionary of persistence is JP Peterson. Because, hey, you've been working hard, my friend, because I've been traveling all over the place, California, back here, and so forth. So it's been crazy. And I'm getting a call from JP. JP's like, "Where you at? What do you think, Fred?" Like, JP, I love you, man, but this ain't gonna quite work. Oh, what about this time? I don't know. Let's get into my golf schedule. So
exactly,
it's a beautiful morning.
Hey, man, I will do anything to get you live on my show, brother. I'll get up at 6 o'clock. I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get you on my show, brother. Yes.
Hey,
absolutely.
But I know you got something in store for me because you and Kevin Keever have been working very hard.
Yeah.
So
well,
I know you got something up your sleeve.
Well, we don't know if we're going to have a mystery caller this morning because your good friend John Smoltz is out on the West Coast in Mexico too. So Lord knows what he's getting into over there. So
okay.
He did well. We're working on this one. We may have a caller. Send that guy. We're producing on the air. Send that guy right there our number to call in if we can get that done. So we're gonna try to get Smolty on. He's so happy that you're in the Hall of Fame. And frankly, Fred, so many people here in Tampa that have been there the entire way for you. And it was so fun this morning reacquainting myself with your career, doing my research, and it's just amazing where you came from here in Tampa. And growing up, going to Al Lopez Field, watching the Rays. Working at Tampa Stadium. I mean, Jefferson High School. You're as homegrown as it gets. And
you going way back to my
hell yeah.
selling Cokes at Tampa Stadium.
Yeah, and I understand. I didn't realize this, but you were cut from your baseball team in your sophomore year because you were too small. I mean, boy, you've come a long way, my friend. Boy, you've come a long way. What are your
See, when I tried out for Jefferson,
yeah.
They had a senior first baseman, Izzy Segura, and so and I knew Izzy from West Tampa Little League and everything, and so. I'm like, for me to make this team, I'm going to have to try out another position. So I tried out for the outfield. I never played the outfield before. Tried out for center field and so forth. But yeah, I didn't make the team, so I just went back to West Tampa Little League and kept playing ball, and then tried out the next year. And so to this day, they give Pop Quest to the head coach at Jefferson. They give him a tough time.
Yeah, of course they should. I mean, what are you doing? You're cutting Fred McGriff. What are you, bananas? But at what point did you realize, hey, I can play this game? There's a famous story of Dwight Gooden, you hitting a long home run off of him in an All-Star game or one of your games, and all the scouts were there to look at Dwight Gooden, and you took him deep in yard. Was that the moment that you kind of realized, hey, maybe I can do this as well?
Well, at the time, because Dwight Gooden, he was it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've grown up here in Tampa, you know that Dwight Gooden and Vance Lovelace, they played at Belmont Heights Little League and they played at Hillsborough High School, but they threw gas and they were awesome and everything. And so, like you say, all the scouts were coming for Dwight. But the thing about it, once I got drafted by the Yankees and Dwight got drafted by the Mets, and so Dwight's striking out 300 guys in the minor leagues and A-ball and everything. And I'm telling myself, like, man, I played against this guy in high school, and he's it. So I got a chance,
right?
Yeah,
and so, absolutely.
But yeah. Oh, and, to this day, I tell people, man, I mean, Dwight Gooden was stinking awesome. I mean, this guy, he had a great breaking ball, as you know, and he was tough, man. He was outstanding.
Well, how much do you think playing against that type of competition growing up made you a better player? Because you just mentioned a lot of those names, and we could mention Gary Sheffield and Tino Martinez and all the guys that have come out of here, and maybe you didn't play against them in Little League, but there was just a level of play at that particular time that lifted everybody, right?
Oh, no doubt. The Little League programs here in Tampa over the years, they were great, man. Like I said, Belmont Heights, beat up on everybody, but you had West Tampa Little League and a few other little leagues around town just had great talent. And, it's tough to believe that it's probably been at least 40 or 50 major league players from this area just right here in Tampa. It's crazy when you think about even the Dave Magadins, Jason Romano's, a lot of guys from this area that made it up to the big leagues.
Incredible amount of talent. So, I mean, most people know you from your time with the Atlanta Braves and winning a championship there, and as being one of the most consistent hitters. I mean, there's so many numbers I can rattle off here. You're the only player to hit 30 home runs with 5 different teams, which is amazing. You were the first player after the dead ball era to lead both leagues in home runs. 89, you led the American League. 92, you led the National League. 5-time All-Star. Just the consistency of which you played. What was the key to that, to just being so consistent year in and year out?
Well, as a player, you're always striving for consistency. Every major league player, they're trying to be more consistent than all the other guys and so forth. And it's very tough. People, I laugh sometimes because you go to these baseball games now, and these people, they sit in the stands and they boo these players for striking out and doing this and that. I'm like, people, if y'all only understood that, you got less than 1 second to decide if you're going to swing or not. This guy's throwing 90-something miles an hour, and that little ball hurts, and you booing players, right? And then you go out to these golf matches, and everybody like,
right.
Quiet. This guy got a hit. So it's hilarious. But I just tried to be consistent. And back in the day, I used to beat up on all the guys, more home runs than McGuire and Bonds and so forth. And then, it's a challenge. It's you against this pitcher, and nobody can help you. Your teammates can't help you too much. It's you against this pitcher. So it's always that challenge. But I have some good people. I go back with Dave Magadin. Back in the day, it was just me and Magadin hitting at Jefferson High School, and he taught me a lot because Mags went to University of Alabama, and he broke all kind of records at Alabama and so forth. And so, I'm learning from him. And it's so funny because if you know Mags, you got to throw the ball right down the middle of the plate for Magadin to swing. Right? Mm-hmm. So here I am trying to throw in batting practice, and he's throwing me great BP all over the place, right? And I got to lay it in there perfect for him to swing. So it was hard, man. But that was Mags, and so we hit at Jefferson. So I just kept improving and getting better. And I always tell people, with me, it was always, you got to make contact, try to make contact, put it in place somewhere. Because, I had power. It's just a matter of getting more consistent. And I set goals for myself. Because I tell people, people come along and like, oh, Fred, you played for the Rays and so forth. They had to be tough. And I'm like, man, I set goals for myself. So before you start every game, you got a chance to win. I don't care who it is. When that first inning starts, you got a chance. If you play for the Rays, who you name it, okay? Yeah. Now, in the course of a game, things may happen and you get beat, which we usually did. Right. But when that game starts, you got to win. You can win. And so you set goals, 5 good swings a month. I'm going to get 30 homers because 30 homers, that was the number back in the day.
Right.
If you hit 30 homers, you had a good year.
Yeah. And it was rare to this day. It's rare anybody that plays for the Rays even hits 32 home runs, which is what you did in 1999, and hit 310 as well. Hitting 3. If we had a Rays hitter right now, especially a first baseman that could play like you, in fact, I think we could have put you in the lineup a couple times last year, bro. And I'm not lying. 32 home runs,
JP,
310.
The game has changed so much, JP. I laugh. Just all sports, like analytics, have just taken over. They've taken over baseball now and into football. I laugh so much. I'm watching these football games on Sunday, right? And you got a team that's on a 50-yard line, and they may be up 3 points or down 3 points, and just punt the ball and trust your defense to go play some defense. Now all these teams, they go for it on 4th down, and they don't make it. I'm like, coaches, all you're doing, you use it. These analytics gonna get you fired. Okay, you keep using these analytics and going for it when you just punt the stinking ball and play. Just play some ball. Like, no, the numbers say that we have to go for it right now.
That's right.
So, okay, you'll get fired. Like the Arizona coach, he's gonna get fired.
Yeah.
You're messing around. Going for it all the time.
Well,
hilarious.
Listen, and analytics are such a part of baseball right now, and I don't was the shift a big part when you were playing? I don't think it was. Do you? And now they're getting rid of it, which is good.
JP going way back to like Ted Williams. They were putting a shift on Ted Williams way back in the 56ers, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you didn't see it too much. And when I was coming up, the shortstop would play more behind the second base, and so forth. And then when Joe Madden came along, and they really started shifting. And I laugh all the time, but it's crazy. And like now they're going to do away with the shift. Like to me, it's like if teams want to put the whole team on the right side of the field, let them do it.
Yeah.
That means it's a lot of hits over there. Now they're trying to dictate when can you shift, and the guy has to stay right here, and he can't go over there.
That's going to be bizarre.
It's crazy, JP.
Hey,
now they got a pitch clock.
Yeah. So do you like that stuff or no? You like the new rules?
No.
You're a traditionalist.
No, because just in the sense where at the end of the day, everybody knows the real problem is the commercials, okay? But the commercials are what make money.
That's right.
They're making huge money, right? So they're not gonna mess with the commercials. So they're like, okay, what can we do? How can we speed it up? And to me, it's like the ultimate goal. You're trying to win a World Series, okay? So now you're telling me my pitcher has 18 seconds or 20 seconds to make a pitch. I might have bases loaded and 2 outs or whatever. I need this pitcher to take his time and make a good pitch than worrying about hey, I got 20 seconds. Let me just get on the mound and throw this pitch.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, man, let this guy take his stinking time and make a good pitch and win this ball game. What kills me is when the pitcher, bases loaded, right? The pitcher stands behind the rubber and he looks at his wristband to see what pitch he needs to throw. It's like, dude, you got a base loaded. You better throw whatever you got. Throw your best stuff. Don't be looking at some wristband.
Now they got microphones in their ear. The catcher's got a microphone. They're talking to them in their ear. Yeah, that's
because JP, like talking. We're talking about Smoltz, playing with Smoltz and Maddox, right? Okay, Smoltz threw a whole lot harder than Maddox. Smoltz throwing 95, 96, and Maddox 91, 92, whatever. So Smoltz can pitch inside on a hitter more than Maddox because he threw harder. And so you can't everybody can't pitch the same because they have different velocity. Their breaking balls are different. Their changeups are different. So to try to make everybody pitch the same, it's like, for instance, myself and say Wade Boggs, okay? We were different hitters. All right. Me, I'm trying to hit the ball out the ballpark. Wade is trying to, hit it to the left, hit it to the right. We played a different ball game, right? So every night we had a different game plan. My game plan that I use to hit is not the same that Wade is going to use to hit.
Right.
Because we're different. Right. But every day you turn on TV like, okay, the coaches have gotten together and we've had a meeting, and this is how we're going to go about hitting this pitcher. Like, guys, are we serious? Come on, everybody's different. So that's my rant for today.
I love it. So listen, you mentioned McGuire and Bonds, and I love this statistic that I read. During the latter period from 88 to 97, first of all, you led Major League Baseball in total home runs from 89 to 94, and third most home runs in the decade from 88 to 97, only Bonds and McGuire ahead of you. And during the latter period, you were eighth in the majors in WAR. I know you don't love analytics, but the WAR, win above replacement, that's the one that says how great you are and everything as a baseball player. You were behind 6 Hall of Famers and Barry Bonds. I mean, you were one of the most dominant players of your era when you start looking at numbers like this. So those analytics make you look really, really good, Fred. So don't hate them too much. Don't hate them too much, all right?
Well, CJP, let's see, really the way it works is like, if you've never played the game before, you need the analytics to justify
what everybody else already knows. The players already know, right? Yes.
Yeah. So now you got the guys from Harvard and Yale and MIT. Now they're into baseball, right? So now we got to okay, I got this job as general manager. Okay, so now I need to justify my move. So I got to have a clue what's going on. So I need these numbers to help me understand what's going on. But JP, I mean, it's some players that are getting paid huge money because they take walks and get on base.
Yep.
and they play some defense. And it's like, serious? You just gave this guy $200 million because he takes all kind of pitches and he get walks. So when we were coming up, we were taught you hit to get on base.
Yes.
Now it's like, why don't you try to walk to get on base?
No.
And it's like,
hard to drive in runs that way. Yeah, hard to drive in runs that way. Now, I've never asked you this question, so if you want to punt on it, that's fine. But I mentioned McGuire and Bonds, and I've always been of the for the past 12 years where you've been up for the Hall of Fame. I've always said, listen, voters, if you're going to keep Barry Bonds and McGuire out for whatever your reasons are, how do you not look at Fred McGriff that clearly did it the right way? Didn't mess with steroids and not put him in. Now, finally, the smart people in the contemporary baseball era players committee that voted you in, put you in. But was it frustrating through those years having people not recognizing the numbers that we just talked about, that you were among the best of your era? Well, how frustrating was that? And how do you feel about Bonds and McGuire?
Well, it was tough, but the thing about it, like they said, ain't no crying in baseball. You keep going. Hey JP, I got 4 screws in my neck and I got 4 screws in my back.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I got a whole lot of other issues, dude.
Right. I got you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I've been totally blessed, and we just keep going. But now, in July, I'm going to be on stage, at the ceremony. Yeah. And hopefully, and what happens if nobody gets voted in, like in January, with the other guys? So then it'll be all me on July 23rd.
And I'm looking forward to that, to be honest with you. I was blessed enough to be able to cover Wade when he went up to Cooperstown and got inducted. I think they do it a little differently now. We were out on an outside baseball field, I think at a local high school, and they had this big setup, and just watching Wade go in. I think he was with Peter Gammons and Ryan Sandberg. But so I hope there's some other guys joining you as well. But what do you think that's going to feel like, being in Cooperstown? Have you been there, by the way? Have you been to the Hall of Fame?
No, never been.
Wow. So this will be your first trip. What do you think that's going to feel like?
Well, I'm sure my heart would be beating.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be, it's like most guys I've spoken to, and they're like, Fred, it's your day. It's gonna be your day, and you enjoy it, and just take it all in, enjoy the moment. And so, hopefully, that's how it is. They tell me I got 10 minutes. I got 10 minutes on my speech. so
who do you want to thank?
So,
who do you want?
I gotta start thinking a whole lot of people, and 10 minutes is short. So I gotta really work on it.
But you could talk about some of those folks that you remember from growing up here. This is what this interview is all about. I know you've done 1,000 national interviews, but this is about the local guys that have coached you and play. You mentioned Mags Magadan was a big influence. You mentioned Pop Cuesta, who's just an amazing influence on so many. Anybody else you want to thank that helped you?
Well, just Wade. I mean, Wade helped me out big time. When I was in the minors, I ran into Wade getting something to eat and so forth, and we had a nice little powwow for a couple hours, and he was just telling me, like, Fred, just look for that fastball and just stay on that fastball, man. Just look for it. And so I said, okay, I tried, because I was the type who I tried to look for breaking balls and different curveballs and so forth. The thing about it is, when you look for those breaking balls and you guess right, then you swing at it, no matter where it's at. So if it's high, you swing at it. If it's dirt, you swing at it, and so forth. And I was in the minor leagues at that time when I talked to Wade. So after that, I started looking for a fastball every single pitch. When I played up in the big leagues, every single stick and pitch, I looked for a fastball. And also, I had to learn how to protect myself, because you're hitting home runs and everything. And so you got the knucklehead pitcher who you hit a home run off of him, and then he wants to throw one high up and in and at your head and stuff like that. And so you had to protect yourself, because if I'm looking for something coming 95 miles an hour and he throws it at me, I can get out of the way. But if I look something coming 70 or 80 miles an hour and he throws at me, I can't react. And next thing you know, I'm in the hospital somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I just started looking for a fastball. So Wade, he helped me out big time when we chit-chatted and everything.
That's a pretty cool story right there. And boy, did you hit the fastball. So tell me about the time with the Braves and that team. I mean, you mentioned Maddox and Smoltz and Glavine, and we could go up and down the list of the great players on those teams. What was it like playing in Atlanta? What you guys went? I know you weren't on all these teams, but 14 consecutive division titles, and then the World Series. What was that whole experience like?
It was great because when I got traded to the Braves in the middle of the year, we were 10 games out of first place when I joined that team, and we ended up catching the Giants at the end of the year. We won 104 games, and they won 103, and it was crazy. And they had a great team with Will Clark and Bonds and Kevin Mitchell. They were stacked. But our team, the Braves, we were great with David Justice and Ron Gann and Lemke and guys. And every night we had a chance to win, every night because we had a stud pitcher, even Steve Avery or Denny Nagel, just solid pitching staff, and Bobby Cox. He was the manager, and he kept everybody in line. Bobby was awesome. He didn't get a lot of credit for managing, but he did a great job. And finally, in '95, we were able to get over the hump. The Braves had lost. I think they lost 91, 92. They got beat because another 93 we lost to the Phillies in the playoffs. 94 we had a strike. And then 95 we won. And so that was the ultimate because the team had always come up short. And so the pressure starts mounting, similar to like the Buffalo Bills back in the day. The Braves kept coming up short. So to finally win it, it's the ultimate because every player, their goal is to win a World Series or win a Super Bowl, and that's it. And so when you finally come together, it's the ultimate because baseball it's a team game and it's an individual game. And individually, if everybody does their job, it makes a great team. And so finally in '95, we're able to beat the Cleveland Indians and win it. But what kills me, JP, is in '96 we had a great team also, and we lost to the Yankees. And so myself being from Tampa, and now with the Yankees having spring training here, I have to pass by that Yankee complex all the time, and you see NY everywhere you go. And so that's what eats me up all the time. After everywhere, and then the people here in Tampa, they love the Yankees.
Right, of course, so
And so every time you look around, I got to see that stinking NY. And we won the first two games up in New York, and we went back to Atlanta, and Mark Rollers gave it through a slider to Larich, and it changed the whole series.
Yep, that's right.
Changed the whole series after that. But that's the one that really gets me.
I ran into Tino the other day, and I bet he probably reminds you of that every now and then when you see him. I bet he does.
Okay.
Hey, well, all right. So go back to the '95 World Series when you won, and where was your vantage point when you watched Sid Bream turn around, the slowest dude in Major League Baseball, coming around third base to score that run? Like, what was your vantage point, and how long did it take in your mind for him to get to the plate?
Well, now a little bit like Sid was 92 or whatever. So yeah. So like, but JP, now imagine this. So like, everybody in Atlanta loves Sid Bream. After sliding into home and everything, right? So I get traded to the Braves, and Sherholtz didn't trade Sid Bream. So Sid Bream is still on the team. Wow. And I get traded over to the team, right? And so it made it tough because, like, I'm playing first base now. I get traded, and I'm playing first. And Sid would pinch hit every once in a while, right? And so Sid would pinch hit, and he'd get a standing ovation. So you ever in the dugout? You're in the dugout like, okay, I ain't asked to be traded over here, y'all.
Are you saying that Sid didn't like you, or are you saying that was a problem?
No, it was just a tough situation because usually the team would trade the current first baseman or whatever, but people love Sid.
Yes.
Sid was
that was
Sid was it.
Well,
Yeah, so it was funny.
That must have been some awkward moments there. But that team and that pitching staff, I mean, that was what was it like playing behind those guys and Maddox and watching him pitch and carve people up? It was almost comical at times how far ahead he was of everybody from a mental standpoint. Like, I know we have all these computer printouts of what guys' tendencies are now, and the pitchers know this. It seems to me like Smoltz and Maddox and Glavine, those guys knew that stuff instinctively in their heads, right?
Yeah, and they threw strikes, and they had a great strike zone. And I had faced those guys before I got traded to the Braves. So I had faced Glavine and Maddox and Smoltzy, and I got them all in the books. So that's why when they see me, they say, "How you doing, Mr. McGriff?" No, but their control was just great. They threw a whole lot of strikes, and so Maddox would finish a game throwing 80 pitches, 90 pitches, and stuff like that. But they just consistently threw strikes, got ahead of the hitters. The game is a lot easier when you get ahead of the hitters and everything. If you're falling behind hitters all the time, they're gonna big league hitters gonna make life tough for you. And I laugh because those guys, they were buds, and they play golf all the time together, right? Yeah. And I tell people, when you're winning, you can play golf. Okay, so we're winning ball games. Those guys are playing golf. They got a little putt, a little machine inside the clubhouse, and it's all good. And so when you're winning, you can play. And everybody says, the reporter's like, "Oh yeah, it's so great. Those guys, they pitch, they play golf together. They're so competitive. You got to love it, right?" And so if you're playing on a losing team and guys try to play golf, they say, "Oh man, these guys could care less about baseball. All they want to do is play golf. All they don't care about no baseball." So
right.
It's hilarious. Winning lets you get through a whole lot of stuff.
Yes, it does. It does.
Like you take the Bucks, right? The Bucks are losing now, so now everybody's pointing fingers. This guy, that guy. That same team was together for the last couple of years, and they're like, "Oh, it's so great.
Fantastic.
This guy, he's awesome. This coach is great." And now it's like
they're all bums,
and they're like, this coach stinks. This coach is bad.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
That's me. That's me. That's my show.
That's you.
Well, listen, they're a different team, right? There's different personnel, and there are different coaches. People are in different roles, and some people are great defensive coordinators, and maybe not great head coaches.
JP, see the thing about it, right? Always up because baseball has no salary cap, right? Mm-hmm. And so in baseball, you have,
that's right,
for the most part, a different winner every year. Different teams are winning the World Series, okay? Football has a cap. And so that cap, the Bucks defense, they started losing this guy. They can't keep this guy, and this offensive player, they can't. And before you know it, that great defense all of a sudden became an average defense.
That's right.
And they lost guys on offensive line that has caused a lot of issues.
Yep, absolutely.
And and I laugh sometimes, right? But Brady took off and went to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
like, come on, dude. Hey, I definitely. Could you imagine if Maddox or Glavine said, like, "Okay, guys, I'm going to the Bahamas for a couple of weeks." You're like, come on, dude, time out.
That's right. Even the goat, right? Your teammates will be like, "Come on, man. If I got to be here, you got to be here. It's training camp, right?" Hey, it's interesting. You mentioned salary cap. So we'll talk some Tampa Bay Rays, because I'm very frustrated the way this team is run, especially from a ownership standpoint. And I'll say this for you. This is my opinion. I think the way they disrespect their former players and don't bring you guys back time and time again. There's no old timers game. They don't bring you guys back I know you were a consultant for a little while, but I think they ignore their past, especially guys like yourself and Wade Boggs and others. This is me speaking. I don't like the way they're so cheap and they got money. They don't spend it. And people think they don't have any money. They got plenty of money. Stu's got plenty of money. And I think this, they should have this deal done in Tampa is where the stadium should be. We love the people of St. Petersburg, but they don't go to the games. It's surrounded by water over there. You played in that dome. It's awful. It's terrible for hitters. I can't imagine how the hell you hit 32 home runs in that place. So I'm not a big fan
hey, JP,
of the way
real quick,
the team is run.
JP, I want you to do your homework right here, JP. Right?
Okay.
Talk about the Rays pitchers, okay? And that dome is very dark. It is very dark.
Yes, it is.
Okay, and Rays pitchers dominate. Okay, and when Rays pitchers leave Tampa, it's so funny. An average pitcher can come pitch for the Rays, and all of a sudden he becomes a great pitcher.
Yeah.
Because it's dark and they dominate. And when pitchers leave Tampa and they go back to pitching outdoors, better lighting and everything, those same dominant pitchers become average pitchers. I mean, if you just look over the years, all these pitchers that were dominant here in Tampa, and when they leave, we can say that the Blake Snells, the Moores, the Cobbs, Shields, Price to a certain extent. You can go down the list of guys once they left, but when guys come here and they get GMs fired, Glass now got the Pirates GM fired. All these other guys, they come here and they start pitching well.
That's right.
I laugh. The guy last year, I can't think, but he was a Braves pitcher. But anyway, he came over here and he started dominating the reliever. But it's amazing that it's dark. And you know what happens is that a lot of times the visiting teams, they come here and it takes them a while to get adjusted to the lights.
Yeah.
And so the Rays beat up on them. And before you know it, the 3 days are over, the series is over, and the Rays have beaten them 2 out of 3 the Rays players are used to, they get used to the lights. Your eyes get used to it. But for visiting teams, they just come in here and it's a struggle for them.
And look at Willie Adames, who couldn't hit a lick here and goes to Milwaukee. He's hitting 30 home runs. And so, and that's why, and that's your good friend of mine, Jason Romano, who's an agent now, tells me this is why, it's hard to get free agent hitters to come to Tampa Bay. Guys don't want to come play here and hit here and play on that carpet, right? They don't want to. If you're a free agent,
it's tough. But I really believe that at the end of the day, the stadium would be better served in Tampa. I just think that it gives the people, the Lakeland, Orlando, Plant City, it gives those people a better opportunity to go to a game. Because asking people to come from those areas to drive over to St. Pete and the Trop, that's asking a whole lot. Because it's different. Like for football, the Bucks may play 3 games a month at the stadium every Sunday. Okay, so asking a person to drive 3 times from Fort Myers or wherever to Tampa to the Bucks Stadium. Okay. Yeah. But baseball, you may play 10 days in a row at home or 7 in a row or whatever. So asking people to make that drive is very tough. And I think if you get a stadium over in Tampa somewhere, I think you get a few more fans and so forth. And it'll make life a whole lot easier for a lot more people than they have right now.
Did you see the artist renderings that were out last night of the stadium they're proposing in downtown Tampa on the water? I was going to send them to you, and I did not.
No, I didn't see it.
It would be awesome. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And and I agree with you. And if they build a stadium in St. Petersburg, even if it's new for the first few years, people will go. But after a while, they won't. It's not what's best for the area, right, Fred? I mean, it's just it's not going to work.
So tough.
Yeah, I agree with 100% on that. And I don't think the Rays, and we've had Smolty on talking about this as well. And Smolty says, you know what? It's the Rays have perfected how to win in the regular season, right? Pitch it well, run prevention, but it's going to be really tough for them to win with the big boppers, with the teams that can score runs in the postseason because they don't pay for offense. Offense is expensive, and they refuse to pay for offense. And, free agents don't want to come here. So getting a new stadium in Tampa, more revenue, a better stadium where people, hitters can actually see, and they don't, players don't get hurt playing on the carpet all the time. I mean, it seems like a pretty simple solution here, right?
Yeah, well, I asked JP over the years because people give the hit show a tough time, right?
Yeah.
And the Rays did a poor job in the sense where baseball is a team game. It's a 25-man roster team game. So they made it about just the hit show. Mm-hmm. Just, myself, Canseco, Greg Vaughn, Vinny Castillo, right?
Right.
And so when we didn't win, it's like, the hit show. But the thing about it, people want to see star players.
Right.
Okay. People want to see names. And so sure, the Rays have played well and they've won 80, 90 games or whatever, 100 games, but people want to see stars. So that's the missing point. You still have to, you need star players. You need to bring in just star players. It's going to cost you, but you need to bring in some star players because that's what people want to see, And so
I agree.
That's what they have. That's going to have to do at the end of the day.
Yep. I agree wholeheartely. Well, Fred, I really appreciate your time, man. We've taken up probably too much of your time.
Right.
I know you got a tea time coming up because you have a tea time every day. Listen, we love you, brother, and I hope you'll be part of the contingent that goes up to Cooperstown to see you. So I'm gonna make plans to do it because you're the best, man, and you're an absolute Tampa Bay treasure, my man. And I look forward to playing some golf with you real soon. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, appreciate it. Okay,
the great Fred McGriff right there. Well, that was a fun conversation with Fred McGriff, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I do very much look forward to heading up to Cooperstown to watch him get inducted. That's going to be one hell of a party. Fred's got a lot of friends here in the local area. I think there's going to be a large contingent of us heading up there to celebrate Cooperstown, play a little golf in upstate New York.
And let's see if he's going to be alone on that podium, as he mentioned.
Yeah.
Because, I think voting's going on right now. We should find out soon. There's not any, unless you want to put in the A-Rods and the Manny Ramirez's of the world, which I have no problem with, but a lot of people do. There's not really a slam dunk candidate that you can see is going to get that 75%. So it may very well just be
X-ray Manny Ramirez, you mean?
That was a time. That happened. Yeah, that happened.
2 weeks. I think he was arrested.
2 weeks and he failed the drug test. There you go. Made it 2 weeks.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the projected starting lineup for your Rays coming up and some stadium stuff. So stay with us. Quick break here. I want to remind you folks about your health insurance. Are you not covered? Because you should be. 1 out of 3 people in Florida are not covered because they think they can't afford it. That is not true. Use your health insurance marketplace, folks, and this group that we're working with will help you navigate that so you don't have to go on the website and figure it all out yourself because it's not easy. Call 888-325-0605. They will help you. I've done this. I did it a couple of years ago, so now I just call up and they renew it for me every year. It's really, really easy to do. I got Blue Cross Blue Shield coverage, Florida Blue, which I selected. There's a lot of plans you can select, and I'm paying $49 a month. It depends on how much your income is, what your family situation is. There's a lot of variables. They'll ask you a few questions, and the highly trained reps will work to find out what your subsidy will be. So just call 888-325-0605. And even if you have a plan with your employer, you might be able to get it cheaper. You don't know. It's a free call. So why not call and find out what the deal is? You may be contributing, $200 a month in your check. It may be lower than that. So give them a call and find out. 888-325-0605. Get covered like me and save thousands of dollars. 888-325-0605. Quick break. We'll come back and talk about this Rays projected lineup and the options for the stadium. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or italianoinsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, one unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigation. All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this holiday edition of the Rays special that we're doing here to talk about the future of the Rays. We'll get to the stadium here in a minute. But I wanted to, first of all, thank you guys for joining us on this Christmas holiday. Hopefully you're having a great holiday, out and about, getting your shopping done. We want to thank our great supporters as well. Our great advertiser, Italiano Insurance. Time for your insurance checkup. Always a great idea to give them a call, 813-877-7799, and they can check out and shop your insurance around to all the different vendors, maybe save you lots and lots of money. So Italiano Insurance and the Gold and Diamond Source have always been a big supporter of ours, and vice versa. We love the folks over there, Julie and Steve Weintraub. Keep your money local, folks. You got to shop, right? Don't go to the malls or at least to the jewelry stores at the malls. Support the local businesses, and that's the Gold and Diamond Source. They support your community, and of course, they have the best prices. They have the best deals, a tremendous staff over there that will help you find something perfect for your lady or gentleman, father, son, whatever. It's the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, so the Rays have not done a whole lot of shopping in this offseason. Obviously, some of the contracts that have been handed out are ridiculous, but there were some other ones, the Josh Bell deal and some of the others that, you thought the Rays might want to do, but they haven't done it. They haven't gone out and gotten any offense. They got Zach Eflin from the Phillies, whose career numbers don't look all that thrilling, but when you dig down at least at some of the most later analytics, you feel like he's going to be a guy that's going to come in here. The Rays will make better, and he'll pitch well and solidify this staff. It's a good pickup.
Yeah, it is a good pickup, and I have no doubt that any pitcher that comes in this system is going to perform, and he's going to get a longer look at a starter here, whereas at Philly, he's been a lot of a bulk guy, and he's excelled in that role, so more time for him. And listen, there are two positions in the league right now that are getting paid outrageous amounts of money, and that's starting pitching and that's shortstops.
Yeah.
So we may look at his contract and go, okay, well, he's the highest paid player in Rays history by total value. But in the grand scheme of things, considering all the pitchers and the money being dished out, he's relatively a good deal.
$11 million a year the first 2 years.
And if he's what you think he's going to be a steal by the time we talk about him next year.
Right.
If he goes out and has the year the Rays expect. The Rays love him from Orlando. They visited his home, and he felt the love back. He chose the Rays over the Red Sox, which I think is significant because we don't see a lot of that happen a lot. So I do like the signing. In regards to the offense, it takes two to tango. And there are a lot of issues of why we know that batters just don't want to come here.
Yeah, because it's, it's just not a hitter-friendly ballpark. We heard Fred talking about that. The lights are terrible for the hitters. It's a big ballpark that doesn't really fly. And the guys don't like playing on the turf because it hurts them. I mean, Kiermaier talked about that. Wander Franco's already talked about that. So,
and I look at like a lot of the deals that like the guys that I thought they should be on, like a Joey Gallo's, like a good reclamation project. I thought. Yeah. I mean, he signed, I think, 1 year, $11 million. I want to say
that could have been real doable. But again, they got to want to come here.
They got to want to come here.
The only way I think we're going to get a good hitter is to trade for him.
Yeah, and I mean, by everything we're hearing, they're ringing every team trying to find a fit to get some hitters in the building because they know it's not going to happen in free agency. And
right.
And again, like I said, there's money being spent. Is it smart money? I mean, I really wanted Cody Bellinger. Did I think the Cubs giving him $17.5 million when he's hit under 200 the last 2 years is smart?
That's not smart.
That's just outrageous. That's something that only a team like a big market like Chicago is going to give him.
Yeah.
But the Josh Bell one, to me, like the fact that Cleveland gave that deal out,
okay, big spenders,
very comparable to the Rays situation.
Right. Yeah.
Michael Brantley, I would have loved to seen as a veteran. He got $12 million, I think. But from his perspective, I mean, you're playing in Houston, team that wins every single year. We just saw it. I mean, you play in a lineup surrounded by stars. You don't have to be the guy. You come to this lineup, and there's going to be a lot of counting on you.
Why would you move unless they paid you significantly more, which the Rays aren't going to do?
Yeah, so
no.
It takes two to tango, but I think if they're going to get something done, it's definitely going to be through the trade market.
So as you look right now at their starting lineup, okay, you got Yandy Diaz playing third. He had 296 last year, on base of 401.
That's outstanding.
It's really in this day and age, 9 home runs, 57 RBIs. It was a good year. It was a good year for him. Then you got Wander Franco, who had 277, 328 on base. It was OPS of 745. None of that spectacular by any means. 6 home runs, 33 RBIs. Only had 314 at bats. It was about a little over half a season. So even if you translate those numbers to a full season, he's still a super young guy. It's just he's going to need to have a much bigger impact on this lineup.
He has to be the guy. And I'll give you a comparison. I'm not saying he's going to have this type of explosion, but he came up around the same time that Vlad Guerrero did age-wise.
Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero burst onto the scene, much like Wander Franco did.
Mm-hmm.
And then sophomore year, wasn't as great.
Mm-hmm.
And in third year, which was not this year, but the year before for Vlad Jr., he probably would have won the MVP in any other year if it wasn't for Ohtani.
Right.
So I'm not saying he's going to turn into and have a Vlad Guerrero type MVP year, but I think comparable situations now, a third year. Hopefully he's healthy now because I think last year was just a lost year for him. He never could get in a rhythm.
No.
So, but
Got behind
the thing
from
with
beginning.
him, it's like, I want to see how much of a power guy is he going to be? Because that's the thing with shortstops now. A lot of them are hitting 25, 30, some hitting 40 home runs in this league. Is he going to be a guy that can do that?
We need him to,
because
be
we
that guy.
need him to
We
do
need
that.
him to be that guy. You know, that's the way this team is set up with his long-term contract. We need him to be that guy. I think it's going to be hard for him playing in the half of his games in the Trop. So if he were to consistently be in the 20s, I think that's doable. I think that you'd be getting your money's worth. But you know, I would hope the 30 and 40 would be more the realm.
Yeah.
You know, but I will see. You got Randy Arozarena, 20 home runs, 89 RBIs, 263 average. You know, those are good numbers. They're not spectacular numbers. And he needs another, you know, it's a corner outfield position. You need, and that's another 30, 40 home run guy that you would hope you would have. Yeah,
he's a useful player. I mean, I don't know if useful sounds disrespectful. He's a good player, but he's just very inconsistent.
Yeah,
and when it's bad up the plate for him, sometimes they're unwatchable at bats.
Yeah,
they really are. Maybe you want more discipline. I think he had 156 strikeouts last year. Yeah, very wild swinging. So maybe a little bit more discipline to his game. But I mean, I got no problem. I mean, that 1-2-3 the year prior was really good.
Yeah,
when they were second in the league in runs. It's just you got to get these guys to stay healthy. But the margin of error is thin when they go down.
And then Harold Ramirez listed as your most probable DH right-hand hitter, 403 at-bats, only 6 home runs, 58 RBIs.
Yeah.
You know, hit 300, but you need more than that from your designated hitter.
I don't even know if he's still going to be on this team.
We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see. And who's going to play first base? Is it going to be Brandon Lau?
I mean, I guess so.
Yeah, is it? I mean, a lot of injuries again last year to him. You know, that seems like it's the way it's starting up, but we'll see. Itzhak Paredes playing second base, 20 home runs and 331 at bats.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
for him.
Absolutely, 45 RBIs. I mean, if you double that to 40 and 90, geez, we'll take that all the time.
Yeah,
but
maybe
there's a long way to go from that. You only hit 205.
Streaky also. He got a lot of those in streaks, but he's going to get more playing time this year.
Yeah,
consistent player. The power's there. I mean, we're talking about we need more power in this lineup. He hit 20 and playing 300 bats, right?
331 at bats
and 20 home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, you give him 500 at bats, what's he going to have?
Yeah, that's what you look at, you know. And can he be that consistent guy? Manuel Margot in right field, hit 274, 325 on base, slugged at 700, 4 home runs, 47 RBIs, and only 336 at bats. Again, this guy can, at times he carried this team with the RB. He can knock runs in.
He carried them in like May, I believe.
Yeah. And, he hasn't been known for being a super offensive player through his young career. And that was a great start for him and, kind of giving him a starting job and paying him $7 million a year, which for us was like, oh my God, that's like a bench player.
The value there, though, is defensively. I mean, we know what he's going to give you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the Rays are still going to have one of the better defensive outfields in the game.
No question. And that brings us to Jose Siri, the center fielder, who's an interesting.
I'm intrigued.
Very intrigued. He only hit 213, but 7 home runs, 24 RBIs, and 301 at bats. He's super fast. He stole 14 bases. He's a game changer when he
got some swag to him.
Got some swag to him. Great center fielder. I'm interested to see what he can bring to the table because there's a lot of tools there.
Yeah, he had 213 overall, but when the Rays got him, he was hitting 177. Yeah. So he started hitting a lot better, and hey, he scored the only run for the Rays in the playoffs. So
there you go.
There you go.
Their starting pitching is just the strength of this team. Tyler Glasnow came back and pitched 6 innings with a 1.45 ERA, 10 Ks, and 2 strikeouts when he came back from the Tommy John. Got the big contract. He'll make $6 million this year and then $25 million the next year when he gets traded.
Okay.
So you got Glasnow, Shane McClanahan, who had a first half that was so good. He started the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Just tremendous. Really, fatigued in the second half. Wasn't the same guy. I shouldn't even say second half. It was more the last quarter of the season where he just, he was reaching innings where he just was not. There was uncharted territory for him. But the dude is super talented. 194 strikeouts in 166 innings, a whip of .93. I mean, come on.
If that duo stays healthy, and I think Glasnow is the ace there. I really do.
Yeah.
I think Glasnow has the better. I mean, McClain, I'm not They're both great, but that 1-2
as good as any in the league.
as good as any. I know everybody's talking about the Verlander, Scherzer. Well, you know what? These guys are 27 and 25 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they don't have as many miles as those two guys. So they have a chance to be the best 1-2 combo in the league and maybe best 1-2-3 because of the next guy, Drew Rasmussen.
Drew Rasmussen, I mean, look at his whip is 1.04, 2.84 ERA, 146 innings pitched, 11-7. I mean, there were times when he was freaking unhittable.
Yeah.
His curveball is one of the best in the game. He's really developing as a bulldog type of pitcher. I love his mentality. I mean, 1-2-3 right there, man. And then you throw in
much better than that.
Throw in Zach Eflin, and Josh Fleming was really, really good at times. Jeffrey Springs was fantastic. 9-5, 2.46 ERA, a 1.07 WHIP, 144 strikeouts and 135 innings. 9-5. I think this kid is got great potential as well.
Yeah,
I mean, those are tremendous numbers.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that rotation 1 through 5. I think that's the thing that gives you a lot of confidence as a Rays fan is they can outpitch just about any team in the league.
Yep.
And we saw the recipe in 2020. They were again top of the league in pitching, but they finished second in runs, and so you had a juggernaut
right
that won 100 games.
Yeah.
That unfortunately just kind of ran out of steam against Boston. Last year, you had one of the worst offenses in the league combined with good pitching, and we saw that pitching can only take you so far.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you looking for? The story of the Rays is the offense has got to be better. This pitching staff and the bullpen included, we know there's going to be some guy you've never heard of.
Yep.
Who by the time June, July comes around is going to have like a 1.5 ERA, like a Jason Adam from last year. And you're just going to be sitting here like, where'd they get this guy from?
Yeah.
So
I think it's, right now their payroll sits at about $55 million and they can make some trades to add it. My only hesitation is with the signing of Zach Eflin. You look at that starting staff and it's loaded.
Mm-hmm.
And you could say, well, is there somebody you can trade there in that starting staff that'll bring you the hitters that you need? And who's the most likely candidate? To me, it's Glass now.
I would never do that. There's just no
wouldn't.
way.
I wouldn't. But
Too
to
special.
them,
Too special.
Yeah, but they don't look at it that way. They look at it as those are the guys when they get to that age and that ability before they ruin themselves. He could get another. He's coming off Tommy John, so you don't know.
And even some of your tradable assets doesn't help. Like Shane Baz is the Tommy John that hurts his trade value. It's kind of hard to do much with that. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now. What's his face? The kid who went to Durham last year, Taj Bradley. There you go.
Yeah.
Taj Bradley would net you a huge return, but the Rays, and I wouldn't do it either.
No, especially after they gave away Joe Ryan.
No shot there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that.
So I'm trying to look at like some of these like guys who they could trade away, like pitching, and it's like the farm's not as stocked as it used to be.
No, it's not. But
it's still very stocked.
Glass now
but it's
would
not
bring
as stocked
a tremendous
there.
haul. He would bring a tremendous haul with his contract this year and next year, and he would bring. And that's why the signing of Zach Eflin, I was like, because that opens the door for them to make a deal and get some really good players. Because normally they do that every other year with their big gun. The Archer trade was huge for them. It kept them sustainable. And then they did it with Blake Snell, and that was awful. They got nothing out of that deal.
Yeah, but Chris Archer was never Tyler Glass now.
No, I know, but they got a haul for him,
Well, that was because one team was stupid enough to do it.
It saved their ass. But that's the way they operate, and it. And I don't want to see it. I'd rather see Tyler pitch this year and then trade him in the offseason.
I would
get him for the $6 million you got that there and trade him in the offseason.
I would love the scenario, and I know I'm being naive here, but I would just love the scenario that somebody has to know it in that building that our future and even our now is Wander Franco, Shane McClanahan, and Tyler Glasnow. Like, I'm hitching my ride to those three guys, three of the most talented players that have ever put on a Rays uniform, and they're all here together, and they're all in similar part of their careers at some point. Come on. This is the core. Yeah,
and then look at the bullpen. You got Fairbanks, Jason Adam, Jalen Beeks, and Sean Armstrong.
Yeah, and I know they traded Rayleigh, and I think it's because that Garrett Clevenger. Watch out.
Clevenger, yeah. I mean, they got, catching Christian Bethencourt, Mejia, and Rene Pinto. That's not scaring anybody. But if Bethencourt's, he's an interesting prospect.
He can hit a little bit.
He can hit a little bit, but he hadn't really done it this far. I have great hopes for Jonathan Aranda. Brandon Lau is a first baseman. We'll see. And
Josh Lowe.
Josh Lowe.
I mean, I think he's the wild card in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. If he could come up and actually give what they thought they were going to get last year, then maybe you got something. All right, so the stadium. Right now, in my estimation, it's still all about Tampa. It's all about Tampa. That's where Major League Baseball wants them to be. Recently, the Rays met with the Hillsborough County Commission, and their renderings of a Ybor City downtown stadium on the water and the new piece of property that Darryl Shaw has purchased. That's something that is very viable, but how is it going to be paid for? Same thing with the downtown St. Pete project that the Rays have. They put something out there. They haven't put a whole lot into the design of the stadium. My feeling is that's just a negotiating ploy to make sure that the new mayor knows that the Rays have to sign off on everything. The Rays have to sign off on whoever the new developer is, and they put out their own projection with Hines developer. And I think that's more to control the situation and to have leverage over how much money they're going to make on that property, because MLB still wants it to be in Tampa. Manfred came out the other day and said it has to be properly located. He never endorsed the St. Pete a solution, and the new thing that he never endorsed that specifically, even though some of the headlines in the Times would make you think that he never did that. So it's still very problematic. And do the people of St. Pete really want Mayor Welch to spend $1.2 billion on a new baseball stadium for billionaire Stu Sternberg? Because the Rays are not going to invest in that property. They're not, because MLB doesn't want them to. And MLB wants it in Tampa. So here's this new design that comes out in Tampa, and it's still, where's the money coming from? Hillsborough County does have money, contrary to popular belief. It's about the $300 million mark where they can definitely say that's something that's real doable. This project is probably in the $1 billion to $1.2 billion. So the Rays would have to fork up, and there's got to be a third person. There's got to be a third party, and that's got to be a private developer. That's the way a lot of these deals have gotten done. And I think that developers would line up, as they've done in Miami for this new MLS park that David Beckham is building. And nowhere in the United States is there a hotter real estate market than Florida. And to build condos and apartments and everything around and retail like they've done in Atlanta, it's a home run. But there's got to be a developer, and I think they're going to find one. I really do. I think there's too much promise in the Tampa site. There's multiple sites in Ybor that you can get it done. And I think, just like I said, when it happened, when the sister city thing was finally ended, like we knew it would end, it was never going to go through. It was just a stalling tactic. And I think the Rays were serious about it. If they could get it done, they would have made a crap ton of money. But it was never going to pass muster by the Players Association or the other owners. So it failed. And I told you at that point what Stu's going to do. He's going to cozy up to St. Pete and use it as a leverage ploy against where they ultimately want to be, which is downtown Tampa. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. And it's just prolonging the process. I wish that Major League Baseball would come in and remove him or make him sell and give it to a local owner, and that deal would get done overnight. But as far as where it stands right now, it's still very much in flux. And I know in the John Romano column, you mentioned Mayor Castor has not been very proactive in getting them there. That's because she has no power. The city is not going to pay for this, and the city doesn't have the money. It's the Hillsborough County Commission, chaired by our good friend Ken Hagan, who's very pro stadium and wants to get it done. So, Mayor Castor is more of a figurehead than anything else in this process. So anybody who's telling you that she has to champion this and be a front runner for it, that's just not factually true. It's going to be the Hillsborough County Commission that does it. Bonnie Wise is the CFO of that commission. She's been in the meetings with the Rays. It's just got to become a better somebody's going to have to come in from a private side and put up some of the money. The Rays are going to have to put up some of the money as well. So that's still where it sits. And I think eventually there's too much money at stake. There's too much money to be made for this to not happen in Tampa. And I still think that's where it's going to go. The sooner they get Stu Sternberg out of the equation, the better. Because the worst case scenario is he goes forward and supports a deal to get it done in St. Petersburg, and they use all that hotel tax money and spend $1 billion on a stadium that the people don't want in St. Petersburg. That money could be spent much better than on giving it to a billionaire like Stu Sternberg, who clearly doesn't care about the people of St. Petersburg, or he would have got a deal done a long time ago, and that would be developed. The Tropicana site would already be developed. He's the one that's held that up. So he clearly doesn't care about them. He cares about his own pocket. That's what he's shown. So I hope that's not what comes to fruition, and we get stuck with a ballpark that's not properly located and is not going. It's a failed location. We know that from the start. So putting good money after bad makes absolutely no sense, whereas everything on the Tampa side is a win-win for everybody. So I still think that's where it's headed, and hopefully it'll get done sooner than later, because the sooner we get it done, the sooner they can get in the stadium, the sooner they can get more revenue, more free agents want to come here, the sooner you got a better chance of enjoying baseball, enjoying good baseball for a long time to come. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. Just hit a couple more quick topics. USF doing great in recruiting. We'll look ahead to some of the bowl games, and a couple other nuggets for you as well. We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. When the new year comes, you know you're going to want to work out. You know you're going to want to lose weight. So why not get scheduled right now at Bay Area Medical Center and do it the medically proven way, not the fad diet way, but the medically proven way with a personalized plan just for you. Go to BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Tell them JP sent you. All right, back at 3. Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to our Wednesday edition of our holiday programming here on the JP Peterson Show. We hope you guys are having a great Christmas season and looking forward to the weekend and cold temperatures. I love it. Christmas and cold temperatures definitely go to bed. Last year was so stinking hot. Oh, hated it. And our thanks to our sponsors, Italiano Insurance, the Gold and Diamond Source. Head on over there and get something nice for your honey. Keep it local. And, of course, AMS Mortgage, Scott Fitzgerald. If you're in the market for a mortgage, he's the man, Scott at amstampa.com. All right, bowl season is upon us. And so far, really from a local standpoint, we had Florida getting trounced in the Las Vegas Bowl, the SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, 30-3 by Oregon State. Their new quarterback, Jack Miller's. Now Florida's, they're losing ground in recruiting. Kind of heading in the wrong direction, no question about it. But USF, by the way, on the contrary, Alex Golesh kicking ass in recruiting.
Yes, he is, and that's what he's been known to do. Yesterday, 7 commits to USF, and really in like a 3 or 4 hour span. I mean, it was just coming nonstop, and got 4 3-star guys here, which, those are always going to be the ones USF gets, but a lot of them local, and then 3 transfers from UF, Lloyd Summerall, who had just decommitted from Florida after the season. Oklahoma defensive back Kendall Dennis, who used to be a high 4-star prospect.
Mm-hmm.
A guy from Wagner named Naeem Simmons, a receiver, and then a tight end here from Maryland. Where was it here? Weston Wolf from Maryland, a tight end. So they're continuing to do it, and then they just got Shantavia Smith today, who was a highly sought-after defensive lineman, and I told you he had offers from Georgia, from Florida State, Florida,
a big deal.
LSU,
getting the lineman.
Yeah, all those schools like that, and he chose USF, and that just came down about an hour ago. So
that's a big deal. That's a really big deal, and the fact that he's using Raymond James Stadium as a huge recruiting tool. Yeah, he's taking all the pictures with the kids over there, putting them on social media. I'm sure he's taking them by Tom Brady's locker and all that. Whereas I don't think USF has ever really. Jim Leavitt used to use it that way, big time.
Yeah, and Alex Golesh, he knows that it's not ideal. Like he had it written in his contract: if I'm going to come here, you're going to promise me that the stadium's getting built.
Yeah,
like we're getting shovels in the ground. But while he has it, use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Raymond James Stadium will be open for business on Friday. The Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl, Wake Forest and Missouri. Should be a very good game. Wake Forest's offense has been spectacular, and their quarterback Hartman's going for the ACC record for touchdown passes against in Missouri. So that should be a fun game. That's at 6:30 on Friday night at Raymond James Stadium. Not going to go through all the bowls here. Of course, Florida State will be taking on Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl on Thursday, December 29th at Camping World Stadium. 5:30 start there. Tickets for that are just ridiculous. But as I said yesterday, Florida State is on the rise. They're treating this as kind of their coming out party for, Jordan Travis coming back. A lot of the Trey Benson said he's coming back. They're stacking a bunch of their players who are coming back that could have gone to the NFL. So they're really, really targeting next year, 2023, as a year they can win the ACC and maybe even play for the national championship with the recruiting that they're doing in the portal.
Yeah, I was going to say they're making a lot of noise too.
Huge noise. Might get Travis Hunter back. You never know.
Who knows there? But the number one player in the portal, until Travis Hunter entered, the number one player in the portal, I think last name Fenton, I believe, cornerback from Virginia, took a visit to Florida State this weekend.
Yeah.
So Florida State's in on him, obviously. So if you get the number one player in the portal, they've already gotten 2 top 10 players in the portal. That'd be 3.
Well, and they could use a shutdown corner big time. That would really complete their defense. And if Verse and Fabian Lovett come back, and I don't know if we've heard, but most of their guys are playing in this game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma comes in at 6-6. They've had a down season. Florida State's 7.5-point favorite. The last I checked, I'm pounding Florida State in that game. I think they're going to win big. Some other interesting bowl games: Notre Dame and South Carolina in the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, which we thought was going to be the ReliaQuest Bowl, but it's not going to be. The ReliaQuest Bowl will be on January 2nd on Monday at noon. Mississippi State and Illinois. Obviously, Mike Leach tragic passing, his memory will certainly be celebrated at this game, and a very interesting matchup. I think Mississippi State they're a very entertaining team. They'll travel well, so we'll see a lot of them. The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, LSU and Purdue and Orlando, that's also on the Monday. And then the Rose Bowl game, Penn State and Utah. Doesn't really feel like a Rose Bowl, but,
Well, why you say that?
Penn State and Utah.
Physical. I see a physical game there.
Very true. And then we'll have the semifinal games on December 31st, New Year's Eve, which I'm not a fan of at all, especially since the Lightning have a game. The Verbo Fiesta Bowl at 4 o'clock. TCU, Max Duggan, by the way, saying he's going to the NFL, where I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. Number 2, Michigan against TCU. Michigan is so physical, so big. I don't know if TCU can hang with them, but we shall see. And then the semifinal, Ohio State and Georgia in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, going to be like a home game for Georgia. I can't pick against Georgia. I think Ohio State is
It's a bad matchup
soft.
for Georgia, though.
Do you think?
I do.
Why?
Because
Smith and Jigba's not playing.
Yeah, but Marvin Harrison is, and so is Abukwa and C.J. Stroud, and a very vertical passing attack. And if Georgia has a weakness, that's it, is defending a vertical passing attack. I mean, LSU, you see how many points LSU put up on them in the SEC title game?
Yeah.
No, they couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop Georgia.
No.
But they scored a lot of points with a backup quarterback.
They did.
I think there's a weakness there. And Ohio State, I don't know. I don't want to play Ohio State if I'm Georgia, I just had this undefeated season and my reward is having to play Ohio State.
Well, I mean, it's the semifinal.
I know
play somebody good.
I know it's the semifinal, but Ohio
You'd rather
State.
play TCU?
Oh, I'd much rather play TCU than Ohio State.
Yeah.
I know TCU's this. I don't even know if I'd even call them a Cinderella. They're a Big 12 team. It's TCU, but at the same time, nobody expect them to be there. I just can't pick TCU over these teams. I know that I sound awful here, but I just can't.
All right, so that's your bowl lineup of local interest here. So look forward to that. All right, well, we're going to say goodbye for now in this holiday season. We hope you guys have a tremendous Christmas. We will be back on Monday with a brand new show to encapsulate the great Christmas trip out to Arizona. It can't be worse than the last game, right? So hopefully we'll be reporting on a win and maybe a turnaround for the Buccaneers. But more than that, we hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas with your families. Be safe. The Jeeves Law Group reminding you, don't drink and drive. Please do not do that. But if you do get caught, call the Jeeves Law Group. JeevesLawGroup.com. Have a great Christmas, everybody.